Welcome into another edition of Cheers to Baseball. We are presented by Old Dominic alongside Chris Domino and Mark Bowman. You know him, you love him, you follow him, and you read him. He's done a great job covering the Braves for MLB.com. And, Bo, we got a lot to get into here. Obviously, a historic night for the Braves on Friday night. We're going to talk about Travis d'Arnaud's heroics coming up here in just a moment. But, Chris, it's always great to talk to Bo, to pick his brain. And whenever we can get a guy like this, this is a big day for all of us
here. He just elevated the class of this broadcast to a brand new height. No doubt about that. Bo, how are you?
All good. Yeah, it's been a fun week.
Listen, I'm not saying you're as old as me. I know you're not. But it's nice to have somebody older than Kevin here. Yeah. Because at times, there's sort of a big age difference. And I start to wonder, I wonder if he ever saw that guy playing. I go, no, he probably didn't. Yeah. You were a little bit closer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have some, I have some memories of some black and white television, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Graphics that never really were called graphics. Yeah, it just had a score.
You had to wait for the Saturday, the NBC game of the week, or there was a Monday night game of the week on ABC.
Sporting News, the Baseball Bible.
Yeah, all this kind of stuff.
Baseball Digest.
Yeah.
Kevin came along, ESPN was just giving it to him every day.
All these kids today, they didn't have to work for any of this.
Full disclosure, I did not have cable till I was in college, so let's not start acting like I'm some young guy running around here that had the internet was still not a thing until I was at the end of high school going into college.
I'm glad you had it in college because that allowed you to see all the highlights, all the Elite Eight Temple went to back then.
Right, sure, I remember. Yeah, Mark Macon.
Yeah, they didn't get
I remember that.
Fours.
Yeah, no. No.
I don't know why we invited this guy in. Just derail our show.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, Bo, thanks for coming in. We'll see you guys next time. No, all kidding aside, what a first couple of weeks it's been for this Braves ball club. History made on Tuesday night. We saw Max Fried go the distance. He throws a Maddox. I know that's something that my partner over here, he's already rolling his eyes. He doesn't like that term.
When did this happen? Quality start's been around too long. A Maddox used to be complete game shutout, fewer than 90 pitches. Now, I look on Wikipedia, and it's now again, because somebody young probably updated it, no, it's below 100 pitches. There were enough guys who did it in under 90 where I thought a Maddox was truly, the condition wasn't 100, it was below 90.
I think it probably should be. Because if you want to go through and see how many people had done that, that is what makes it special.
Right.
And if you even want to say 90 and below, we'll give Max one of them. The one against the Orioles there in 2000. He was at 90. But like you said, that 90 to
I don't know when it happened.
It brings in way too many more.
By the way, there were a handful in the 70s. I just think 99 we're now just, sure, give him one too. Well, why don't we make things a little bit harder to achieve than a little bit lesser. That's all.
I kind of like that.
Let's just say he threw a masterpiece then. Can we call it Max's masterpiece?
He threw a hell of a game.
It was tidy. That is tidy. Like the word tidy really fits what he was able to do on Tuesday night.
It was a lot of fun to see how it all played out. You and I were sitting next to each other, and I think at one point we looked up, what was it, the fourth inning, and it was 37 pitches. We went, oh my God, he's not even broken a sweat out here.
Yeah, I think it did go 11, 11, 5 or something. I think that third inning might have been 5, and you're like, oh my God, this guy's, like I said, I just said, a little bit ago when Kevin and I were talking, I said, it wasn't the perfect game like Randy Johnson threw that night, but when Randy Johnson got the third, fourth inning that night, you knew it was over. And last night, you knew that Max Fried was going the distance. It was going to be a shutout. The only question was, how many pitches is he going to throw? Is he going to need?
So Kevin and I talked about the idea that, it was only against Miami. And I will concede that they're not all created equally. Like, you knock that guy out in the boxing world, well, he's ranked 84th. It's not the same as knocking out the number one contender, and I grant you that. I do think his stuff last night would have worked anyplace, but I am going to say, and I do believe this, not only did he have success earlier in the year against them, he's had success in his career against them, but I think there are certain teams you do drive to the ballpark knowing I have a little bit more wiggle room, a little bit more margin of error. My offense is good enough to make up for my mistake, but I'm not really sure they're capable of running 4 hits together, 4 hits in an inning, 2 home runs over 2 innings. He had an advantage that way because he did know that going to the mound. He did not have to be perfect. It just turns out he was as good as he's been as we've seen in a while.
Yeah. I mean, and like I say, Chris, you and I were talking about this earlier, it was Max Fried last night again. It was, I didn't I never really understood why he was throwing the softer slider there the first 3-4 starts, and then you'll see it on Baseball Savant as a sweeper and whatever you want to call it, soft slider, sweeper, whatever.
I've heard it called worse.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I think there was one time on a board it was called the slutter.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
Anyhow, he needed to get back to who he was, and that slider was really what set him apart in 2019, and it was good for him to say, hey, look, this is my pitch, this is who I am, I'm going back to this is, this is going to be more of a, it's his third pitch maybe, but it's not just a throwaway pitch.
Right.
It is an important part of his arsenal, and that's what it was last night.
And I will come back to free agent year 30. He's going to be an incredible test case. It has not served him well that as many guys who have gotten hurt. You can be 25 and get hurt, but it doesn't matter. Once the numbers start accumulating, then I think it hurts the next guy who's trying to get a contract. That's just the way it is. Human nature can also be, do I want to make sure I make 29 or 30 starts, not 17? Yep. Do I think about maybe going a little bit softer? Maybe. I'm not telling you it's a definitive, but I do think that you think about self-preservation. He's well off now. He will be rich when all is said and done. But I do think the idea of wanting to get the biggest bite of the apple possible, you might get caught up in the, what do I have to do this year to show that I'm worth more money, not less money? And maybe that sometimes gets you away from what might serve you best on a given night. Fair?
Very fair.
Okay.
And I want you to kind of, because you've heard this story too, like I did many, many years ago. Remember when Maddox would talk about his first year here and how he felt some pressure?
Yep.
What he told you was, you're trying to live up to a contract. Well, Max Fried's not trying to live up to a contract this year, but he knows how important every start is to what for his future. So
can't make 15 and expect the bigger money.
Right.
You can't lollygag your way through a season. It comes back to get you. It's what they say in football. You better play like it matters because that's how you get hurt. I just want to see a guy. He attacked it effortlessly last night. But don't you think he attacked it last night?
Yeah.
I thought he attacked that game. And Travis d'Arnaud, and we're going to talk about his offense in a second, but what I really love about Travis d'Arnaud, and we did the numbers, he is in a career resurgence. It's a bona fide career resurgence. Doesn't usually happen as a catcher. Doesn't usually happen when you're a backup catcher, but all of a sudden you're relied on more in your mid-30s instead of less. Your money meter rolled forward in a way that your family probably can't believe. But what I like about him more than anything else, he has said and maintains, and I believe it, job one for him is to catch a baseball game. It's to tell Max Fried, I think today is the day you go out and throw a complete game. He knows his job. And to me, I've always said the catcher's supposed to be the guy that I wouldn't want to fight him. I wouldn't want to have to stand up to him. I want that guy to be a dude. I think positionally, I want that guy to be a dude attitudinally. I want him to be a dude because he understands it's not about dig me. It's about dig us. And boy, Travis d'Arnaud checks all those boxes.
I wouldn't want to have to face him if I'm an opposing pitcher here. We saw what he did on Friday night. Not one, not two, but 3 home runs. And, Bo, it's a rarity that we see catchers with multiple 3-homer games. Matter of fact, he's just the third to do it. It's Hall of Famers Johnny Bench and Gary Carter, and now Travis d'Arnaud. And for a guy who's not a noted power hitter, to see the display that he put on and to cap off the night with that grand slam that was the game-winning swing, I mean, it's a night that I don't think any of us will forget for a long time.
No, there's for sure. I mean, for many reasons for Travis, his family, such a special night. And like you said, this is a game winner. Mm-hmm. We'll see. And I don't want to give away what we're going to watch here for Yankee Stadium, but that was too. I mean, this guy has not only has he had these 2 3-homer games, but one of them was a grand slam in the 7th inning. The other one's in a 9th inning game winner at Yankee Stadium. That's pretty special. And you know what that tells me? Here's a guy who he, as Snit said, he has a slow heartbeat. Mm-hmm. He's able to slow the game down in big moments and come through. And that's really what I was thinking when he came to the plate on what was that, Friday night, I guess, and there's bases loaded. I'm not thinking here's a home run, but I want Travis d'Arnaud up in that situation just to give me that that soft single to right or just line one up the middle because he's going to battle that pitcher. He did this, and you guys may remember this, on Sunday night against the Mets in 2022, that series finale. Chris Bassett's battling. I can't remember what inning it is, but it's an early scoring opportunity, and Travis fouls off a couple pitches and lines one to center, and you're just thinking, that is the guy I wanted up there because he's going to battle that pitcher, put that ball in play, and get those runs in. And I'm not going to sit here and go look up his stats on with runners in scoring position. I just know in terms of approach and at bats that I remembered, I want him up in key situations.
I didn't look. I'm just going to assume because I had to bring it up on the air, and then somebody actually gave me the numbers. I said the numbers turn out to be since 2007 to 2019, $9 million. Good living. 2020 to now, $35 million as a catcher. Usually you become a backup catcher, they pay you the minimum. Then when you can't move too quickly, they give the minimum to the 22-year-old guy who comes up. So I'll just go with he's not a backup catcher. He's a catcher, and at times he's been the catcher when nobody thought he was coming here to be the catcher. That's the career resurgence of this guy.
I know you love probability numbers, and it just caught my eye looking at this highlight. The hit probability on the 3-2 pitch that he hit out for his first home run, do you know what it was?
9%?
9% hit probability.
Really?
I remember that.
Looked like 100% to me, the way it jumped off his back. Are we going too far with some of these numbers, Bob? Like, are we overthinking it? Right now, his home run probability on a grand slam, his home run probability is 2%.
Okay. So why don't we just do this then? Because this is what it's the same as. Hey, Bo, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100. What is it? Give me a number.
Okay, 35.
You're wrong. Like there was never a chance you were going to be right, which is there was never a chance any of that's going to be right. Kevin, what do we know? There are two numbers when it comes to probability, 0 and 100.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Everything else is a guess if you want to play in the world of guesses. But when you win a game, you had 100% win probability. When you lose a game, you had a 0% win probability. That's it. When you come up to bat, you can give me whatever, garbage in, garbage out, zeros and ones, blah, blah, blah. And then the at-bat will actually happen. So I don't know why we just think we're going to jump to the end of the movie when nobody really has filmed an end of a movie because it's not been done yet. Wait, because it's sports and it's live.
Yeah, by the way, it was still sitting on 2%, and I just watched the ball land deep into the
They
stands.
should have changed it to 100% that he will hit a grand slam.
As soon as he made contact, right, Bob?
When it's 2%, and then you look up and it would have been a home run in 27 of 30 ballparks. Yeah, there's some of those numbers do conflict.
Yeah.
But it is crazy because, and can I tell you another thing? Look, what year did you start covering like at a major?
2001.
2001. Yeah. So you get in a couple of years after, oh, wait, is steroids a thing? Yeah. So you started it. Yeah. Let me tell you why steroids were a thing. I'll tell you why. Because they were a thing in 1985 in a gym in Milltown, New Jersey. Because they were. I could have bought them. I could have told you who to get them from. And I could have told you what each one would do. I could have, 1985. Baseball is claiming, well, it was after 98 and the home runs that Barry Bonds got pissed and he blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you why steroids really came about. If we take out the Olympics of the 60s, the Steelers and some other teams of the 70s, it came about because when you were driving a ball to the warning track, that was it for you. Your legs were gone. I watched the end of Gary Carter's career, a guy who had 2-3 home run games. He had 2 of them. But when it was warning track power, that's it. When you're a catcher and you're getting up and down, that's it. Why were steroids why would they get into the game? Well, I'd like to play a couple more years. If I can just get, whether you're a pitcher, I can get a little bit of workout in to keep my legs, or I could just hit the baseball 15 more feet. I'm still viable. If I'm a middle infielder and I see the middle infielder sitting 22 home runs and I'm sitting on 9, I need to be viable. This guy is, he's sort of defying a little bit of that because once your power is supposed to be gone, it's gone, unless you get a boost, unless you are willing to cheat with your bat head a little bit, but that can get you in trouble. It's why steroids became a thing in baseball. How do I get 15 more feet? How do I get in August when I'm not dragging my rear end around and I could still get a workout and try to keep my strength? Because you're supposed to age differently. This guy mentally and this guy physically now, he knows the game better than he ever has, but he hasn't had to give up playing it because he's taken the mental and the physical things he knows, and he's still manifesting them into being a catcher who's viable for a major league team.
You know what just caught my eye, too, watching the highlights at Yankee Stadium? All 3 home runs were opposite field shots. And do you know what batting order he was hitting in that night?
8.
He was leading off for the Rays that night. Led off the game with a home run.
They were analytically driven a little
Yeah.
bit. There must have been something there.
D'Arnaud leading off.
I never would have known that.
For the I never would have guessed.
You know what we got to look for tonight for the pregame?
What's that?
How many times did he lead off a baseball game?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if it was a Tampa thing, if it was because I don't remember that, if it was short-lived or not.
Yeah. No.
Did it in the first, the third, and the ninth. And that ninth inning home run was a 3-run shot, and that ended up being the game winner. So, yeah.
2 strikes, 2 outs.
Yeah.
And he will get the round of applause that's usually reserved when they bring back that World Series team. Here's the other thing. The backup quarterback is beloved because he doesn't have to do anything. As I said the other night, this guy has earned his adoration. He's earned his respect. Not because it's the other guy's a bum, just put him in and let's see what happens. This guy's gone out and horsed being a catcher a couple of times now where somebody who was supposed to catch more games is hurt. He's doing it right now this year, too.
This guy has meant so much to this organization since he got here in 2020. Unfortunately, we weren't able to interact with the players like we usually are in 2020, and even 2021, it was still kind of the Zoom thing. But as soon as you got back in that clubhouse, you saw this is a leader.
No doubt.
This is a guy who, at the end of the night, he's grabbing a beer with all the relievers in the corner. He's, the pitchers, they all love him. He can smack talk with the best of them all across the clubhouse.
Run a meeting.
Yeah. He is the man in that clubhouse.
I agree.
To me, I mean, Dansby and Freddie had their, they had their presence, but in terms of, once they left and even before they left, this guy's presence was felt, and he was.
He's
the
a
leader.
dude.
Yeah,
he's a dude, and he doesn't have to tell you. He doesn't have to wear a big belt buckle. He's not walking around with the belt on.
Yeah.
He's just a dude.
Yeah.
So good for everybody around here for having this guy.
Yeah, for anybody that had those questions, Bo, like you mentioned about losing some of those veteran guys, the leadership, whether it's d'Arnaud, whether it's Charlie Morton. Heck, I think you throw Chris Sale in that conversation now, what he's brought to some of those young guys. It seems like while some of the old guard may have moved on, this group still feels like they're in really good shape.
Yeah, they've done a good job to add the right guys. Like you said, bringing in Sale, this guy is just he brings it, out there on that field. I thought my favorite Chris Sale moment in terms of the intensity that we've seen so far. He's, I don't know, 4th spring training start, somewhere he's trying to get to about 75 pitches. Well, his command's not great that day. He's going to a bunch of 3-ball counts, and he gets to the 4th inning. He wants to get through 4 if he can, and he walks the first guy, and he realizes he's not. They're going to pull him at some point in this inning. He gets the ball back after left-hander, but he gets the ball back like this. He takes the ball and a boom right there to his head. Anyhow, maybe he gets one more batter, and Snick comes and gets him, and you see him. He goes straight to the dugout. And you're saying, what's going on?
Someone's going to pay a price.
And all of a sudden, you see if at the far end of that door where they can go get to the clubhouse back there at Northport, he whips that door open, and you just see him go, and you go, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Go out there and talk.
Something's going to pay the price. I also can tell you the night that he walked the 2 guys and then gives up the base hit, from what I understand, it was let him have a moment.
Yeah.
Let him have a moment. Now, again, you can't punch anything, you can't kick anything, can't break anything. But if a guy needs a moment in a moment like that, he's going to need a moment. Yeah. I think people realize pretty quickly he might need a moment every once in a while.
Yeah. Speaking of spring training, you need to get credit for this one, Chris. You saw Jared Jones that night pitch for the Pirates, and you came to the ballpark the next day and said, "Wow." And
if this guy's not one of their 5 best, I got to tell you, it didn't look like there was a staff that guy couldn't have been on and shouldn't have been on.
Yeah.
Like you just see a little bit of a presence. Now, look, it's a month of a major league career.
Yeah.
A little less than that. But there were certain guys, and Bo, remember the other question I asked you? Do you remember the question I asked you about pitchers? I said before they sent everybody down, Kevin, it was Elder and everybody was still up.
Yeah.
Smith-Shawver was still there. Anderson's recuperating, but whatever. But I asked Bo, I said, here's the thing I would like somebody to do. Somebody who represents every team in Mark's job, our job. Give me the guys as you walk around and you go 4 or 5 years from now.
yeah.
That guy, those are my guys. That's my 1, that's my 4, that's my 5. That's my 2, that's my 3, that's my 5. And do you know how much you would be wrong? And I wasn't talking 7 years, 8 years, like some of these deals go for the established guys. You don't know. They don't know. The player doesn't know. Mm-hmm. It's crazy that it's a worldwide game. We're looking for pitchers everywhere. And you can't guarantee that anybody in that room is going to be any better than this. You can really guarantee, I'm not sure one of them is even going to be this, take it up a notch. That's the crazy thing with pitching now. We talked for a little bit about it for 2 days in a row that you can see a report and watch a guy throw. And I watched Jones that day and go, well, that guy's got stuff. I don't know if he can pitch. I don't know if he, what his heart is. There's such a throw of the dice when you're, do we have 3? And 3 years from now, would I even have the nerve to put money on the table and go, I'll project which ones I think are going to work? It's not a thing.
It's not. I think the easiest thing to do, as you and I were talking, just go back to March of 2023
right,
and tell me who the Braves 5 starters are going to be, even in March of 2024, and you're going to be completely wrong.
Right.
If you'd even tried March of 2025, no shot at all.
Right. It's crazy that the thing everybody's looking for the most, like quarterbacks in the NFL, you can't tell me what you know, because anything you tell me, I'll say, I'll take the field. Yeah. I'll take the other side, because that's how big a crapshoot pitching is right now.
Yeah. Be careful. You got in trouble for using that word before.
That's true. The owner of the Atlanta Falcons, he and I we were good friends for 20 years. I'm not sure if we're sort of good friends anymore.
No. Can't use crapshoot?
Yeah. I think I said hiring a coach and finding a quarterback isn't it? Like when is somebody on this panel going to just say it's a crapshoot? And boy, he took exception. And then he waited another second. And he went back to me when somebody asked another question. It's not a crapshoot. There were 9 coaches fired. There were 2 more on top of that. So in a 2-year window, 11 NFL head coaches who were hired because they were the ones were let go, and quarterbacks drop off like nobody's business. I think I needed to say 50-50 proposition.
There you go.
I think crapshoot was the one that's sort of, but pitching, crapshoot personified.
No doubt.
Personified.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Well, look, what Max Fried did was not a crapshoot at all. Great to see him get back on track. Hopefully that's a sign of something to come for the next 5 months or so. Hopefully maybe 6 months through October as well.
Did we give Bo a bottle for being our...
Yeah, we'll give
Isn't that what they usually do on like the Mike Douglas show or the Merv Griffin show?
No, you can't
like
drink
for
this in
appearing?
the press box. I don't think they'll let us drink this in the press box.
How about like out on the concourse?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. As long as you don't tell
I
anybody.
think the door separates yes and no.
Yeah, you're a vodka guy, right? You've been known to throw back some vodka over the years.
Yeah.
How about a little Old Dominic Memphis vodka? They have hooked us up with all kinds of great stuff. And again, maybe, you just slip one of these in maybe one of your drinks while you're doing a post-game story. Who knows what the hell you might write about it.
I'll just put it with Frenchie Supplies.
There you go. That dwindles pretty quick, right?
So you're outing another guy. All right, I get it. Hey, Braves are off on Thursday.
Yeah.
I got St. Pius Ladies Soccer on TV, leading right into the NFL draft. If you don't think that's going to be a drinking night, you're crazy. What an incredible night to actually pour, as we like to say, 2, 3 fingers worth. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen on Thursday evening this week.
Well, it's not a night off for me because I have half the neighborhood coming over to celebrate Max's 9th birthday, so I will be knee-deep in the Old Dominic. I'll probably get the bourbon whiskey out.
What are you doing with your day off, Bo?
I'm going to golf with Dad tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Oh,
awesome.
Oh, I'm sitting there talking about drinking and watching the draft, and you're getting all sentimental.
Some cigars.
You're getting all sentimental about it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Bo, we appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Bo.
Enjoy a little Old Dominic on us. And we do want to thank the fine folks at Old Dominic. Chris, I've been having some of the dads over. We watched football. We did basketball. We've done some baseball now. And the Old Dominic has been flying. We're going to probably need a restock at some point.
Yeah, what is it? It's like what I talk about the trucks going into the battery.
Back a truck up.
Old Dominic's going to have to back a truck up to the 680 The Fan here in Atlanta at the Battery and just take care of the boys.
Hopefully we can make that happen. Hopefully the Braves will keep on rolling, and of course we'll talk about it with you all summer long here on Cheers to Baseball. For Chris and for Mark Bowman, I'm Kevin. We'll see you for another edition of Old Dominic. Cheers to Baseball coming up soon right here on the Braves Radio Network.